Hey everyone, this is Levi Fry. I'm doing Mr. Carter's second period final. Today I'm teaching Factoring Polynomials 4.4. So, previously, you factored quadratic polynomials such as x squared plus 4x plus 4, which then we'd use the Xbox method that we've learned, and you'd put the third term on top and then the second term on the bottom. And then you have to figure out what two numbers multiply to make the top one and add to make the bottom one. So this one's simple, so it's 2 and 2, which would factor to get you x plus 2, x plus 2. And then you've been complete. But I'm going to be teaching you to factor polynomials with degree greater than 2. For example, just some type of polynomials, x cubed minus 4x squared minus 5x, or 3y to the fifth power minus 48y cubed. Both of which you cannot use the regular Xbox method which we've been taught. So, to solve this polynomial, the first one, x cubed minus 4x squared minus 5x, you can't use the Xbox method yet. First, you must find common monomials and factor them out. So a common monomial is like a number or a variable which can be pulled out of every number in the equation. So for x cubed minus 4x squared minus 5x, the common monomial is x, which would then, once you pull it out and factor it, you would get x and then times in parentheses x squared minus 4x minus 5, which then you would go down and you would do your Xbox method and put the third term on top, negative 5, and then the second term on bottom, negative 4, which this is a little harder. So negative 5 plus 1 would give you negative 4. So your factor, once you're fully factored, is x times in parentheses x minus 5 times in parentheses x plus 1. And you have to make sure that you leave the number that you pulled out, x, in the final factor and not to forget about it. So you can highlight it, which makes it more helpful. Now, you guys can practice one on your own and factor the monomial out and use the Xbox of x to the fourth minus 3x cubed minus 4x squared. Okay, now that I gave you time to do it, so I'll show you how it's done. So you have to look for the common monomial, which in this case, I like to look at the very end of it, and then usually if it's on the third term, then it can be pulled out through the rest. So it's x squared, so when I pull it out, it becomes x squared plus 3x minus 4. And now you can do your regular Xbox method, and negative 4 and 3. So what two numbers time to make that, but add to this 4 and negative 1, which gives you as a final factor x squared x plus 4 x minus 1. Okay. Additionally, to factoring polynomials, there's a special factoring pattern. And the special factoring pattern is sum of two cubes and difference of two cubes. So sum of two cubes is a cubed plus b cubed equals a plus b, and then in parentheses, a squared minus ab plus b squared. And then the difference of two cubes is a cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. And then so if you forget the difference between sum of two cubes when you get an a cubed and then minus or add b cubed, you can always remember SOAP, which is an acronym for so whatever your sign is, you go same, opposite, and then always positive. So if it's addition, it's addition minus add, and then if it's subtraction, minus add. So now applying these ways to factor, if you have, so for our first example, when we're using sum of two cubes, so 64 x cubed plus 1 equal, so this would then equal 4x cubed plus 1 cubed. And then, so the way how I got it to this is 64 to the third root would be 4. And then x cubed to the third root would be 3. And then this is your a. And then 1 to the third root is 1. So now you have to look for your a and your b, which we found our a and we found our b. And now you can put it into the formula, which I showed you earlier. And then you would get, using SOAP and the formula, 4x plus 1, and then 16x squared minus 4x plus 1. And now for an example of difference of two cubes, 27x cubed minus 8. Okay, so same thing with this, the one example before. 27 to the third root is 3. X cubed to the third root is x. So then you put that in parentheses and cube it. And then now you have a minus, and then 8 to the third root is 2 cubed. So you have your a and your b. Now using SOAPs, and you see it's negative, or minus, you get 3x, and then same, so minus 2, and then 9x squared, and then opposite, which would be addition, x, 6x, and then always positive plus 4. Now finally, the last way of factoring is by grouping. So this is a pretty long, little confusing equation, but I'll just tell you it, but then I'm going to explain to you it in a simpler way. So r times a plus rb plus sa plus sb equals r, and then in parentheses a plus b plus s, and then in parentheses a plus b. And then this would get your factored r plus s, and then a plus b, which is more, it's easier to explain in an example. So if you have the polynomial 7 cubed plus 5z squared minus 4z minus 20, this way way of factoring you use when you have 4 terms. So what you do if you see 4 terms, what you got to do is I like to put parentheses just right down the middle and on the outside, and then now you have your you have it split up, and then now you want to try and pull common monomials out, and then get the inside to the same. So for example, you then get pull out, and then you get z squared, and then z plus 5, and then negative 4 z plus 5. So then you have your r, your s, your a, and your b, and you get z squared minus 4 and then z plus 5. But you have to fully factor it, and this can be factored to z minus 2, z plus 2, and then z plus 5, which you've learned this before with difference of cubes. Okay, so in conclusion, we learned 4 ways to factor a polynomial: removing common monomial, then using our Xbox method, and then sum of 2 cubes, difference of 2 cubes, and factoring by grouping when you have 4 terms and you pull common monomials out. Thank you very much.